Connection test 1, 2, 3. Excellent. It appears it is stable. Greetings, wingmates. Today's transmission is a little bit impromptu and off schedule, but it has been a rather long day for me. I've been engaged in some search and rescue efforts in the Void March. One of our fellow couriers, part of the association, went missing a few days ago. That is, So, the call came out, and I was essentially rolled for volunteering to go search. It's always unpleasant, but you do what you can. I have another shift tomorrow, and after that, I'm due to dock for engine repairs. Hello, Ray! How are you this fine, time period for you? I don't know if it's day or night, but either way, welcome. Hopefully this transmission won't be cutting out. I am on the very edge of a jump node connection. Hanging in there, Ray. Hanging in there. But glad to hear that you're doing well yourself. Alright. Well, I think our... Excellent. Stability is important in such a transmission. We can't have the footage of the Kerbals tumbling through space to their deaths, you know, interrupted in any way. Well, hopefully that won't happen. So, without further ado, let's move on and help our little Kerbal buddies reach orbit. So, Kerbal Space Program is a rather old Unity game by any standard at this point. But it has been given a lot of love and a lot of care, and it's continually been updated. And the sequel, Kerbal Space Program 2, is coming out within a year or two, who knows at this point. But that should be exciting because it will have multiplayer. And when you see how this plays, it's definitely got the right makings for a game that you would want to do with your friends. So, I have not touched this in quite some time, so I may be a little bit rusty with my orbital mechanics, even though I fly a craft, but as I stated in a previous stream, I mostly let the computer do the work for me. So this will be a nice treat to manually operate a primitive spacecraft, very reminiscent of early Terran flight. Alright, let's start a new sandbox scenario. What flag shall we go for? But please let me know if the game is either too loud or too quiet. It appears a little bit quiet on my end, but it's not like this game has many sound effects or music to begin with. Let's see. What's a good flag? I like hexagons. We'll see when it is fully going. Yes, we will. Hello, Headless. I hope you are doing well. Let's go with stripes. I like harsh contrasting colors because they're easy to see when you're picking apart the wreckage. There we go, that's a nice flag. Okay, sandbox and normal difficulty. Let's begin. Seems slightly quiet, but yeah, Kerbal's not very sound heavy. Alright, let's crank that up a little bit then. There we go, on my indicator we're at negative 35 decibels. Okay, and we're back. Welcome to the Space Center. Nice to meet you. I'm Gene Kerman, Flight Director, and your guide for this quick introduction. This is the Space Center. From here you can manage all aspects of the program. Feel free to have a look around. Hold the right mouse button to move the camera or use the arrow keys. Stop. There we go. Right-click over the Space Center facilities to view more about them, and left-click when you're ready to head inside. If you need more information, check out the training section in the main menu. Well, I don't know if I have it, but we will try to have it. Let's go to the vehicle assembly building to build up a primitive rocket. I got it, Burner 1 Kerman. Okay, maybe I don't have it. Alright. So, to get our space legs, let's build something primitive. that hopefully won't smack into the ground. So let's go with a liquid-fueled rocket, perhaps with a single stage just to get our suborbital legs. Ooh my, this has changed since last I was here. Let's see, Rockomax fuel tank. Mark III fuel tank. Okay. So I am thinking a very simple rocket akin to a Redstone, a Mercury Redstone rocket, one of the first American rockets to fly, and the first one to do a suborbital hop, from the American side at least. So now that we have our fuel tanks for this single stage, let's go with a manned rocket. Let's see here. Command pods. That is too big of a command pod. I think we may have to go with a probe. Oh good, oh good. I'm glad it's a good level. Oh, Mark I command pod. There we go. That is suitably up to the aesthetic of the Redstone project. Now, I've learned in the past that things go disastrously awry, so let's get an escape system going for this. And the couplings, I believe, we need a decoupler. So let's pull off this pod, slap a decoupler on it, a bigger one. There we go. And let's put the pod back on. I know enough space travel stuff to get by and to appear knowledgeable, but beyond that, who knows? Okay, we will require a escape tower. Now goodness, where is that? Aerodynamics, ground, thermal, electrical, comms, science, cargo. Might be in engines. Separatron, that's a separation booster. Oh, let's see, escape launch system, perfect. Oh, that's way too big, never mind. We'll just put a parachute on the capsule and hope we don't have to re-enter prematurely, which I doubt we will. Shielded docking port, no, no, no. Electrical, thermal. When in doubt, search it out. Parachute. Mark 16 parachute. There we go. So now we have at least the basic idea of crew safety accomplished. Now, one thing I do not like using is only having RCS for control systems, since you run out of RCS propellant fairly quickly. So let's have a reaction wheel, not a small one, but a advanced inline stabilizer, as they call it. Let's put it at the top here with the decoupler and the command pod. Now we will need an engine. Let's see here. Oh, which size shall we use? Probably the most basic one we can afford. That's a vectoring engine. Excels as a first stage. Ah, here's the more classic ones. LVT-30 Reliant liquid fuel engine. Although criticized by some due to their not insignificant use of so-called pieces found lying about, the LVT series engines have proven themselves as comparatively reliable. See, this is my kind of engineering. Hello, Melchior. How are you doing? Is it not too late on your end of the transmission? Please, any wingmates, make sure you get your hibernation in when you can. But I'm glad to see you here. Okay, we have a single engine. This is absolutely not enough. But let's get our feet wet. Let's do some aerodynamic stabilizers so that this rocket won't careen like a pencil thrown at a overworked school teacher. Big delta? No, no, no. little bit too big. Large conventional tail plane. Winglet. There we go. Okay, so now we need radial symmetry. Let's enable 4-way radial symmetry. There we go. Oof, classic. And let's add some launch gantries. Quadruple radial symmetry. That's good enough. Have it at the bottom so that as we drop, we don't detonate. Okay, now let's add some RCS control systems. They have much more capability to actually maneuver us as opposed to the reaction wheels. And reaction wheels, for anyone not familiar with them, are essentially... Hello, Egg! Yes, KSP is great! I am looking forward to the sequel quite a bit. How are you tonight, Egg? Let's see, RCS thrusters. I am smart, so I will find exactly where they are within one click. Coupling, structural, command and control, there we go. Let's see, tonnage, this one is much lighter. A small thruster block. Oh, that is way too small, never mind. Okay. 4-way symmetry, let's pop a set here, and a set at the top of the fuselage. Oh, good, good. Egg, you are a good egg. You're getting your sleep. I hope that, the dulcet tones of rocket engines roaring will put you right to sleep. I know when I need to rest. I turn on sounds of gunfire and, you know, engines burning. No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay. So, staging. Let's add another stage. Let's see, where's the stage button? Let's make sure that the engine and the... In space, no one can hear you snore. Yep, that's true. Unless you have a microphone feed in your cockpit, then command and control can hear you snore, unfortunately. In my training days, I was dangerously close to getting a reprimand for falling asleep while the instructor was talking. I really did stay up a little too late. Okay, so I think this is how the staging is supposed to work. Oh, is this new? Is this our Delta V? It might be. Okay. Oh, they have changed a lot of things. Let's take a look at our center of mass. That's fine. Our center of thrust. Okay, that gives us a good lever arm. And where's our center of drag? Good. So when you're building a rocket that is flying through an atmosphere, you definitely want your center of drag to be behind your center of mass. Because then, when you do, when your rocket is flying forward, aerodynamic forces acting on the components which create the center of drag will, in essence, balance you out, sort of like a pendulum. That is a poor explanation, but for now it'll have to do. And the further away your thrust axis, or center of thrust is, away from your center of mass, the more your gimbaling here would have any effect on your rocket being able to rotate. So if this nozzle right here stops burning down and rotates just a little bit to the left or to the right, or, you know, to and fro, you will have a force, a component of which is tangential to this axis of flight. And thus your rocket will begin to rotate around the center of mass. Of course, this is affected by center of drag when operating in atmosphere. This also affects how your ship rotates in microgravity environments, like in orbit. So right now, with all the fuel, it should rotate around this. However, we are highly unlikely to reach orbit. I also need to check if this engine can actually gimbal. Let's see, so this is the Reliant... What's this pound thing? Ah, the thrust limiter, I forgot that was available. Pin... Okay, never mind, I'm not going to do that. Engines. Reliant, does it have gimbaling? I don't think it does, actually. So good thing we have RCS and winglets. Okay, well, without further ado, let's launch. Wait a minute, I have to actions. Oh, this is also very new. Never mind. Let's select crewman. Jebediah Kerman the Classic, Bill Kerman, Bob Kerman, and Valentina Kerman. Who shall be my first volunteer / victim? I think we'll go with Jebediah. I wish you luck, Jebediah. Cargo. Oh, this is also new. So Jebediah has a parachute, I believe. Wait a minute, I can remove a parachute and an RCS thruster pack. And the pod appears to be able to hold up to 50 liters of some fluid or other. Switch editor. Oh, never mind. We're let's launch. Here we go.
This is ground control. You're probably cleared for takeoff.
Roger, ground control. Beginning test of the, Icarus? Yeah, I think so.
Hi, Miwa. Greetings to you too. Yes, it's a bit of a late and tiring and busy night for many people, it seems. Thank you for the boarding party. Today we're doing some Kerbal. I was a bit busy with some other things today, but I think you were doing Hades earlier? Alright. Let's crank us up to full throttle. And let's launch. Wait, first, let's turn on stability systems, which is the T key. So SAS, Stability Assist System. This will keep our rocket pointed where it should be. Let's take a look at our map. So we want to probably do an equatorial orbit, if we can reach orbit on a single stage. So let's hit it. You weren't ready for the last boss? Oh, this engine is far too weak. Let's get some altitude and velocity before we do anything else. Kerchunk! Yeah, it's streams sometimes have that effect. You're just not ready for the stage that you thought you were. Have you beaten the last boss before on your own? Okay, we are at about 60% fuel, so we are definitely not going to reach orbit. Let's adjust our bearing here. Disable our stability assist system temporarily and hit it. Alright, let's keep adjusting. Hit F to quickly toggle. There we go. Oh, you know what? We're actually hitting a decent velocity. Let's cut thrust for now. Because we've gone hypersonic, as you can see by the plasma plumes around our spacecraft. Jebediah, you are so calm. Miwa, I played it only entirely on stream. I beat the first health gauge today. I didn't know there were more. Yeah, that's it's hard when you're trying to figure out techniques that you wish you had explored a little earlier. But props to you for playing it blind in front of everyone. That's my commendations go out to you. Oh no! Oh. Okay, so we have now stranded Jebediah Kerman in a suborbital trajectory. He may actually be incinerated by this. Oh, your internet was laggy. That is really unfortunate. Well, I hope I can provide you a bit of chill. This is one of my less violent streams, at least in terms of detonations and the like. Although I think I think Jebediah here is not so lucky. Okay, so we know that with 2 fuel tanks and that kind of engine, we are able to get at least a vaguely adequate elevation. 73 kilometers. I would have preferred maybe more like 100. I actually do not remember where the atmospheric line of Kerbal is. But you know what? We'll find out together. Okay, so Jebediah is essentially doomed. I think we must abort this particular flight. And I don't want to lose Jebediah, so let's first try, revert to vehicle assembly. Hello! The stream just started, everyone. Welcome. Hope the transmission is going smoothly for you. Okay. So, we definitely want more thrust, we definitely want more fuel, and we definitely want some kind of ability to control our little spacecraft here. Because if we reach orbit and we have no delta V, which is our ability to change our velocity, thus the delta for change and V for velocity, if we don't have enough of that under our control, we will basically be stuck in orbit. Melchior, do you have to start out a little bit? Is there building a little dinker rocket like this, or can you make a rocket of legends from the start? So I'm in sandbox mode, so yes, I can build a legendary rocket. The primary limitation right now is my reps. It's been a while since I've played this, so I'm warming up with the fundamentals of rocketry. So let's pull off these components. You will get more thrusters. I'm about to do that. Okay, so 2 fuel tanks is nice, but let's make an orbital vehicle. So we need a coupler. Let's see, where is our coupler here? Fuel tanks, command and control structures, coupling. Here we go, another medium-sized coupler for our staging. Now let's throw on a decent liquid-fueled engine. Let's see. Okay. So I need to know the specific thrust for these, how good they are relative, how much, basically how much delta V can I get per unit of fuel from an engine. And I do not remember where that particular statistic is. Let's see. Oh, right mouse button for more info. Here we go. Engine ISP, okay. It is much better performant in vacuum. So engine nozzle design does determine a lot of how at least a liquid-fueled, conventional, primitive rocket engine operates. So, in this case, this particular engine is more efficient in vacuum. Mio, you're having flashbacks? Yes, I've gone through similar pains, I think. Oh, physics and introductory orbital mechanics. Well, not to mention the things I went through in flight school. Okay. Ah, yes, so this one has gimbaling. The LVT-45. It has a slightly better ISP. And it has a 3% gimbal range. Okay, so this is a much superior choice if you are using it as a first stage engine, because it allows you to have much finer control of your spacecraft. Ooh, we will definitely use some solid fuel boosters to help us. Hello, JC. Welcome to the convoy. It's going pretty well. We're having a bit of a chiller stream than usual. Fewer explosions and much more construction. We're playing Kerbal Space Program and building our first baby step vehicle to get us into orbit. I would eventually like to get to the moon, but I'm not sure that will happen in this particular transmission here. Okay. Ah, yes, the Nerve atomic rocket motor. This thing is fantastic. It has excellent ISP. In vacuum, it has 800. So if you're doing any kind of interstellar boosting, or I'm sorry, interplanetary or interbody of space boosting, this is your This is your friend right here. But let's go with the gimbaling engine for the first stage. And let us add this... let's still add the gimbaling engine for our second stage. Okay. We will need a fuel tank to fuel that. Let's see here. Little small fuel tank for our second stage. We need just enough fuel. Ooh, you like rockets, JC? Do you have a what is your favorite rocket? I think I like the madness of the N1 rocket that the Soviet space program attempted to go to the moon with. Simply for the absurd amount of engines along its radius. And that the engines are the ones that were made for that project were, I believe, until recently used for even modern launches, because so many of them were made and it's such a reliable design. Historical rockets, yes. Alright. Oh, this is a much bigger tank. You know, let's go with this small tank. We should be okay. So right now we have a small engine and a small tank. So one of the issues... So I believe... So you need electrical power to operate your reaction control systems, because those are essentially flywheels arranged on different axes, which are spun up or down depending on which way you want your spacecraft to rotate. So in essence, if you spin one of your flywheels this way, clockwise, your spacecraft will want to spin counterclockwise as an opposite reaction. And this is a way of essentially being able to rotate and align your vessel without having to expend thrust. However, there is a issue with these particular systems, and that they can be technically saturated, which means that the flywheels have actually reached a speed at which they can no longer go any faster without physically being destroyed or shattering. And at that point, if you have a situation where your flywheels are in various states of spin, and some or all of them are maxed out, hopefully not all of them, you will have to use thrust of some sort, or some kind of other motive force in order to balance it out. Typically that is your RCS thrusters, but there have been proposals to use electromagnetic tethers, which use a planet's electromagnetic field as the reaction force to basically push against and be able to unwind these overspun control flywheels. A bit of a tangent there. Okay, let's see. We might want to add some RCS fuel tanks, some monopropellant. Monopropellant is essentially, as the name says on the tin can, a propellant which, under the right conditions, will essentially react spontaneously. I believe the typical monopropellant is hydrazine, but please don't quote me on that. Okay, we need a very, very, very small monopropellant tank because this is a very, very small craft. JC, you watched a documentary on the creation of the Apollo rockets. The amount of intricacy and precision that is needed to make a rocket that actually gets off the ground in one piece is wild. Yes, there is a reason why space races bankrupt nations. It's quite expensive. Let's see here. Oscar B fuel tank. Oh, I have not done my monopropellant reps. Dumpling external tank. Let's see here. Alright, let's go with two of these little teeny tiny tanks. It's not strictly necessary because there is a onboard reserve of monopropellant. This will be okay. But yes, we are doing far fewer calculations than the Apollo scientists did in order to get off the ground. And I am always amazed by how limited the processing and design tools were for the early rocket scientists, and how they were still able to get off the ground using slide rules and early electronic calculators. Okay, so we still have our detaching coupling, which is vital. Let's see, we need a battery. So this would probably be in electrical. Let's add a small rechargeable battery pack. Excellent. This is adding mass, but we're being quite prudent here. Okay, I think that'll be okay. Miwa, this in regards to difficulty of calculation and the like. Melchior, did any of you catch the recent rocket launch? I didn't watch it myself, but I was told in detail about it. The level of technology seems incredible. Oh, the SpaceX launch. I've been able to see one or two of them, and I know the recent ones have ended in spectacular fireballs, but we always forget how many of the early space program launches ended in absolute disaster. Not even launches. Yes, Miwa, in the past, it was definitely a different ball game. Yesterday I was talking about how slide rules are a lost art, and I definitely would not want to try to design this with a slide rule. Oh, the fireball was planned this time. Did they give a reasoning for that? Do you know by chance? So let's add some solar panels to our spacecraft. We don't need anything too fancy, so let's add ones that are simply around the perimeter of the craft. 8-way symmetry around the RCS module and battery pack. Actually, no, let's put them in the middle because we want our RCS thrusters to be at the edges of the craft. There we go. So now we should not be stuck in space without any power. Shout out to the people even willing to attempt and board them. Yeah, even with an escape system, they must have had, to quote Duke Nukem, balls of steel. Yeah, they expected a buildup of pressure inside it in regards to the SpaceX rocket. The next launch won't have it. Huh. I will have to read more into that. That is an odd thing to do, but I guess testing what happens is a good idea. All right, let's see here. Oh, these packs are way smaller. Okay, I'm sorry, this pack is way too heavy. Let's just throw on some little AA batteries here in 4-way symmetry right under the solar panels. Or even with the solar panels. There we go. Let's add some RCS equipment. And let's not go too haywire with that. Okay, command and control. RCS thruster blocks. Let's add... So, as long as the RCS systems are not on the center of gravity of this particular capsule, they should be able to maneuver our craft. Actually, scratch that. They should be able to help rotate no matter what. So let's just put them on the bottom so we have the best leverage arm. Oh, my statics reps. And my dynamics reps. It's been a while. Okay, let's add some RCS thrusters to stage 1. Just for completionism. Okay. We will probably not be using those, but it's not the worst idea to have them. So stage 2 is looking good so far, I think. So let's, before we forget, stage it out. So this coupler here needs to be in this stage. Oh dear. No, yes, it needs to be here. And the ignition of our engine also needs to happen simultaneously. And then the ignition of our primary engine needs to happen right here. So as you can see, as we've added more mass to the craft, we have lost delta V. Now, I do not remember how much delta V we need to successfully enter orbit of Kerbal, at least estimated. Where is the in-game wiki? New, open save, export craft, actions, advanced mode. What is this? Filter by function, filter by module. Oh well, we'll play it by ear. We'll do it live. Okay. So clearly this craft at this point is I don't not think it's ready for the prime time. So let's add some solid boosters to help kick it off the ground. So we have this space shuttle-esque booster here. We have the shrimp, which we can put in a nice cluster at the bottom for aesthetics. Or we also have this little mite. Melchior. Oh, JC. So apparently that was the third failure in the recent launch of SpaceX rockets. Elon Musk jokingly said, "It landed in one piece, but apparently that was unplanned." The person I was talking to was uninformed. It looks like it was not a planned explosion. They are Musk fanboys, so that might explain it. Yeah, you can never ignore that potential. I mean, it's when you're rooting for someone, sometimes it is a little tempting to, I suppose, want them to succeed despite seeing the proof before your eyes. But, you know, that's how it goes. So, Melchior, I believe you mentioned that you wanted to see mega boosters, so I think I'm going to waste no time and just slap on a whole 4 solid boosters. Now this is technically, and in all likelihood, a waste. A waste of mass and an inefficient rocket design, but I don't care. Oh dear, I seem to have made a mistake. That's okay. All right, let's remove this array and simply move this down on the rocket body itself. There we go. Let's move it a little lower. I've moved the center of mass a little too high. Ooh, what a waste. All right, let's put some nose caps on that for propriety's sake. We can't have a nude launch. Oh, that's a little too big. Looking like a mushroom there. Small nose cone. No, that's a little too small. Protective, nope. Oh my, where is the small one? We need a modest nose cone. There we go. Perfect. Nice and aerodynamic, which does have an effect on the actual gameplay, but in theory you could probably, with enough thrust, even a brick will fly. Oh, JC, you remember it now. Your friends screwed around a long time ago with rocket thrusters and created a monster that just kept spinning at full speed into orbit. That may happen with this, if our control systems are not powerful enough. So thank you for mentioning that, because we need to add some fins to this monster. Let's add them right in the middle here. There we go. Hopefully they won't get burned off. Something is off about the way they're being attached, because they look like they're fletched as if an arrow, or as if it was an arrow, with a slight bit of a twist to it. Also, fletching arrows by hand is not for the faint of heart. I have never done it, but even with a machine it's hard enough. Archery is a fun hobby when you want to get away from technology for a little while and go back to your primitive roots. I may not have snap angle on. Oh, there we go. Alaric, thank you with the save. You have rescued me from disaster. Let's do this to our boosters so they're nice and pretty. There we go. Now you've all seen how my reps have not happened in a while. Okay. Let's snap everything now that we've reestablished that. Back to 8-way symmetry, although that's quite unnecessary, I think. Perfect. Yes. Airy Pie smugly looks upon my pathetic attempts to launch into orbit. Her science is way above this.
We're doing rocket science here. You're right, JC.
Yes. Okay. So, we need to make sure our boosters are staged in stage 1. And they are. Good, good, good. Let's add a gantry before we forget. Let's... Oh, this just doesn't feel right, but, Bazinga. We don't say that word on this. We don't say that word on this. Jump net node, Melchior. We do not. Feel free to. Amogus, Bazinga, whatever. It's all gravy. Alright. So our gantry, our solid boosters, and our primary engine are all in the same stage. I feel like I am missing something. We have a parachute. We have stage separation. Oh, no, this should be so the solid fuel boosters will burn out first, so they should be in their own stage here. That is very critical. Okay, so we have RCS, we have power, we have reaction control, we have monopropellant, we have a parachute, we have stage separation, so that we're not trapped on this rocket. Okay, let's just go through the tabs and take a look. Thermal, heat shield. Does the pod require any heat shield? I think it should come with an integrated heat shield, but let's check that out. Mark 1 pod. Oop. Let's take a look at its right mouse button. So the pod already has a small battery inside of it, a small amount of monopropellant. Oh yes, it counts as a wing technically, as it So the interesting thing about controlling a teardrop-shaped pod as it plummets through the atmosphere in a fireball of plasma is that if you angle it in a certain way, it essentially becomes a lifting body. And the way you rotate your pod using something like a reaction wheel during the descent will also change the lift vector of that lifting force, and that way you can steer yourself a little, even despite something like an RCS thruster being rather easy to burn off in such a situation. Alaric, hard to see, but did you make sure the boosters fire before decoupling from the ground struts? See, I went with a little bit of laziness here, and I did not do that. Let's actually do that. That's a good tip. A pro tip from Alaric. Thank you. Okay, so our gantry will separate after we've reached full thrust. Please feel free to back seat. This is a learning experience for everyone. So we don't need any of these science modules because we're playing in sandbox. Personal parachute. Found lying by the side of the road. That's okay. So where are the lights? I would like to put some lights in case we go into the shadow of the planet, so that I can see what I'm doing. Light. Work lamp. Illuminator Mark 1. There we go. Let's just put 2 of them on board. Perfection. Miwa, you would thank you for the vote of confidence, but you may not be able to get a certified degree if I was your professor. So let's count our lucky stars for that, shall we? Okay. You know what? I may have forgotten something important, like a flight stick for my dear pilot Jebediah, but we'll have to deal with that as we launch. Oh, I did 3-way symmetry. This absolutely is intolerable. Bilateral symmetry, like all superior chordates. Bilum chordata, or is it? Oh, Miwa, you sound more certified than my to have a doctor title than my English professor, to be honest. Oh, that's concerning. I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you. I appear to speak English, which I think qualifies me for it. Melchior, you're putting a pilot in this thing. Well, pilot might not be the right word. We call them involuntary volunteers. And in this case, it's like, once again, Jebediah. This is a penal legion. We are sending war criminal Kerbals into orbit to atone for their sins. And to, you know, help in the prosperity of the, I guess, the nations of the planet of Kerbal. Okay, without further ado, let's double check our... Oh, no, this is bad. The parachute would have deployed the moment separation would have happened. That is, that's a bit of a no-no. Okay, there we go. Ooh, this, so our total Delta V here is what it was around when I first built the single-stage vehicle. You know what? This might be good enough. Let's do it! Need parachute to be stage 0. Oh, yes. Thank you, Alaric. That was that could have been a disaster. And it might still be a disaster. Okay, parachute. Okay. We fire up our engines. We break away from the gantry. We separate our solid fuel boosters. We ignite stage 2 while simultaneously separating from stage 1. Then, when we complete our retro burn, we will separate the capsule, and at last we will fire off the parachute. I think that's sensible. Ikuzo! 07 indeed. Dun dun dun! Oh, that primary drive looks a little bit anemic compared to the solid fuels, but that's okay. All right, getting my bearings here. Oh, oops, didn't mean to do that. That's fine. Stability control system is online. RCS is off. Let's get some altitude. Let us actually throttle down. Oh, we didn't even throttle up the primary engine. Let's keep the primary drive at half throttle right now, because I don't want to hit hypersonic velocities a little too early. That would be a problem. Let's begin angling. Come on, stability control systems. This is a little scuffed, but I found these parts at the side of the road. All right, braking on. Oh, no! Oh, somehow we survived. Oh no, I lost a fin! We need to activate RCS to stabilize the situation. Spacer lied as naturally as he breathed. Full throttle! We must break free of the gravity. Oh, I just wanted a chill stream, but I seem to have dug my own grave. Okay, we are gaining. Our apoapsis is rising, and we still have quite a bit of liquid fuel. This is good. RCS, how much monopropellant do we have? I don't remember what the statistics are. Where's the pause button? Oh no. I should have done the tutorial. That's okay. We're fine. Deja vu. Cut off the engine. Okay, our apoapsis is at 113 kilometers. This is good enough. Alaric, this is for anything. This is for surviving. Oh, okay, let's turn off RCS. Whew, okay. Okay. What is our orientation? This is not the orientation I wanted. Let's rotate our mouse this way. I think I may attempt a spacewalk if I can obtain a stable orbit. If I do not have enough thrust for a stable orbit, I will simply abort and attempt a retrograde burn. Okay, so where is my prograde vector? Let's see, there's my prograde, but no. What I want is my prograde add apoapsis. So let's enact a maneuver. Add maneuver. I want to do a prograde burn into a basic orbit. Let's go a little lower. There we go. Pull back just a touch. Our periapsis is way too low. Let's bump those numbers up, rookie numbers. That's circular enough. Circular enough. Okay, so for this maneuver... So I've completed the maneuver. Okay. Oh, no. Space was not correct. Let's take a look at this disaster. Well, I apparently have done that again. I should have locked my stages. Miwa, thrust, orbit, spacecraft, and the internet have a lot in common. I suppose. So thrust and orbit, how would you say that in terms of the internet? I am curious to that analogy. So let's go back to launch pad. This was an unmitigated disaster. Revert flight, revert to launch. Okay, so far we know we have enough thrust to actually get off the ground and potentially reach orbit. So these are all great signs. So before I do another disaster, let me quickly open up a wiki page and double check that I am doing some things correctly here. You feel it might be a bit not safe for work or as offensive as POG in Twitch standards. Okay, I think I'm getting the gist of what you're saying there. Key bindings. Okay. This just to anyone who is thinking of chartering a flight with a with an unlicensed pilot, if they're saying the kind of things that I am saying now, get off the ship immediately. They should not be saying, "Oh, where's the wiki page?" during takeoff. Okay, let's see here. Pitch adjustment, yaw adjustment, roll adjustment. How do I fly? RCS, translate, toggle RCS. Ah, yes, the IJKLH and... Okay, perfect. Big red flag. Well, there may be red flags flying right now, but we're gonna launch anyways. Cranking up primary engine to full throttle. Turning it back a little bit because we don't want to waste our fuel, and the solid fuel motors, I think, have more than enough thrust. I am keeping Alaric's comment in mind that I was hitting Mach streaks very early on. But that's what we call fun. Alright, engines on! Gantry away! Stability systems on, if a little bit late. Checking our orbit here. Ikuzo! Stay on target. Let's get that sideways velocity going. And let's stabilize. Solid fuel is gone. Crank up our primary engine, jettison. And that's still too close for comfort. I really should have put some separation motors onto those. If we fail again, I will put some separation motors on the solids, because that is way too close for comfort. Alright, apoapsis is approaching 100 kilometers. And we will cut off when we hit 100. And we are about to... X. Excellent. Now let's do our maneuver before we forget. So prograde thrust. Let's circularize our orbit here. Fantastic. Let's see our periapsis. Oh, I should be checking these particular maneuver parameters. Advanced orbit info. Oh, that's not quite necessary right now. Apoapsis is still way too high. Let's drop it low. That's acceptable eccentricity, I believe. Okay, we are not hitting spacebar. So we are done with this maneuver. So let's exit map mode and begin to adjust our orientation. Let's activate RCS. Let's adjust to this burn marker here. This triangle, or this dot surrounded by T's. A little bit, there we go. Deja vu. I think that's acceptable accuracy. Let's turn off RCS. Good enough for me. So, to anyone who hasn't played Kerbal before, we are basically... Now that we have reached a certain altitude, we must make sure that we have enough velocity to actually maintain an orbit. Right now we're basically doing a big suborbital hop. But in order to orbit, you pretty much always must do a second burn once you're in orbit. So in 1 minute 15 seconds, or sorry, in 24 seconds, we will be doing our second burn. So I will simply crank up the engine to full throttle and go for as long as it can. 10, 9, 8. Good luck with the restart, Miwa. 3, 2, 1. Full burn. So this little green bar right here is how much velocity we need to add to this particular vector in order to complete the planned maneuver, at least as calculated in the orbital map view. As you can see, our trajectory is beginning to circularize. So this simulation is not a multi-body problem. This is a simple conical simulation of orbits. But for the most part, that is more than adequate to give someone a good idea of how spaceflight works. And also calculating multi-body problems is essentially an unsolved issue with all the chaos. We are almost out of liquid fuel for our first stage, and yet we still have about 500 more meters per second that we need to add. So we may need to burn some of our first stage in order to complete this maneuver. And first stage is gone. Separating. Ignition. Cutting. So we do not have a perfectly circular orbit, and we lost that maneuver upon stage separation. So let's go a little above prograde and do a little bit of burn. Activating stability system. Let's do a full burn here, and maybe we could circularize. Yes, I think that's good enough. That may actually hit Atmo right there at 54 kilometers, so let's burn a little more. Well, 70 kilometers. Let's hope that's enough. And I think we will have enough fuel. Hello again, Miwa. Were you having some lag popping up from time to time? Alright. Let's arrange ourselves prograde. Actually, retrograde. Because that's what we will need to do in order to depart orbit. Driver issues. Unfortunate. Yeah, the, When the drivers go, it's... You really have no choice but to just give up and reboot the system. Luckily, the systems in my particular vessel have several layers of redundancy, so I can restart any given failed system whenever it's required. But if it wasn't for that, that would be quite unfortunate. Let's hope it won't happen with your rocket. Yes, I hope there will be no glitches with this particular vessel. So, Alaric mentioned it, so let's do some EVA. And hopefully we won't completely lose our grip on this craft and sail off into the depths of space. Oh boy, here we go. So, Jebediah, currently in an expression of absolute panic, is hanging on for dear life. Let's actually turn on these lights, so that in case, when we do go to the dark side of the planet, we will have a reference point. Ooh, blink on. Like a blink. That is new. And blink on. There we go. So let's let go and do a little flying. Let's use our translation movement. Oh, I have to activate RCS. Okay, so now I have thrusters. So let's begin practicing our translation maneuvers. So right now we're drifting away, so let's thrust. Oh, there's our headlamp. Uh-oh. We are drifting dangerously far from our craft. Okay, here we have it. Jebediah Kerman, doing the first successful extravehicular activity. And hopefully it will not be the last. Oh, look at you. Jebediah is having a great time burning out his retinas. The Kerman sun is bright and beautiful, especially when there's no atmosphere to protect you. I think his retinas are irreparably damaged. Let's go back. Okay, let's see. Uh-oh. How do we go up? Houston, we have a bit of a problem. I definitely do not want to run out of RCS before I return to my vessel. Let's see here. Oh, yes, there we go. Shift and control. JC, to be fair, I'd have a similar reaction if I was in space. I'd be over the moon, so to speak. Cheeky, cheeky. Yeah, we're not quite over the moon, but I hope to be eventually. Okay, there we go. Up, down, forward. Once you get the up, down, everything's a lot better. Okay, let's, nope, that vector, nope. And this is with stability. Let's, come on, down. Not good. Don't run out of RCS, please. Once the panic sets in. Oh, and I've imparted some momentum to my craft, so I will have to stabilize it. Gently does it. F. B for board. Oh. All right, let's bring our craft back to stability and descend. So I think I will do this burn at apoapsis, and I want a rather shallow descent. Actually, so I have more, so propellant inside of your spacecraft has much more velocity at periapsis, because you are slowest in terms of your relative velocity to the body you're orbiting at the apoapsis. So, by the equation for energy inside of any given mass, when you're fastest, you will have the most energy. So, yes, so let's burn the lower we are in orbit. But I also want to descend in the sun side of the planet. So let's see what we can do here. Let's add a maneuver. Let's add a maneuver on the next orbit. Okay. Let's do a bit of retrograde burn. I don't like that. I do not want to descend in the dark side. Let's cancel this maneuver. X. I think we have more than enough available propellant to do a descent at apoapsis. So retrograde burn. That's a little bit too steep of a descent. I think that is nice, and we probably won't bounce off the atmosphere. And it is vaguely close to the launch point here at this this cape. I think the recovery teams should be able to pick us up. All right. So let's align ourselves for the maneuver. Let's go back to our position here. Oh, the lights don't appear to be working. I need to resolve that issue. So let's reorient ourselves. So this blue mark here is what we need. Fantastic. We are aligned correctly for our burn in 13 minutes and approximately 14 minutes. So let's accelerate time. We zoom in. 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, and look, the burn time is only 2 seconds. So we actually have more than enough liquid fuel. I'm actually curious, how much burn time do we have in general? It's unfortunate that this craft is... Oh, there we go. Now it's nicely lit. We have plenty of electric charge. How much mono propellant do we have? Let's see here. Where is the pause? Time warp, signal strength. Toggle time mode. Well, that will be just fine, I suppose. Oh, and here's some interesting parameters here. We have our orbital period. So in 36 minutes, we cover the orbit. We cover a full revolution around Kerbal. So we are about 30 seconds away from our very brief burn. Let's do this one in the map mode, because it's going to be very easy to overshoot this particular burn. And I will not be cranking my engines up to full thrust. We're at the 15-second mark. We are go for the burn. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Initiating burn. Oh, the burn time is actually a little longer than anticipated. 5, 4, 3, 2. It looks roughly within parameters now. And I think we have a solid and not too steep descent. So I will wait until we are sure that we're going to splash down before I eject the vehicle. So I do not want to descend from into the atmosphere with this entire orbital module still attached to my command pod. Hydrate, redeem. Hydrate, stretch. Thank you, JC. Oof. Sippy, sippy. Hello, Mundo. How's the trip into space been going? Oh, we are about to end our little trip into space. Well, not the stream, but our little journey with our first orbital flight in Kerbal history. Simulated water. Beverage of the gods. Ambrosia. Stretchy, stretchy. Oh. There we go. Nice and limber. Let's see, when is our estimated splashdown time? 10 minutes, so we can accelerate time a little bit. If I could turn back time. Here we go, here we go. Let's see, we are 2 minutes away, and now we've been forced into 1x mode, which is perfectly acceptable because I think we are hitting atmospheric drag. Let's... Oh, what's going on here? Okay, perfect, we are back. Let's orient ourselves in a proper descent orientation. Where is our... Okay, here's the wonderful buttons. Let's orient retrograde. Oh, we have to eject. Oh, there we go. Here we go, here we go. So our orbital module is about to burn up. Oh, no. Stability control systems, RCS, stability control systems. All right, we must orient our heat shield in the proper direction. Oh, there we go. Oh, that bar is not good. That bar means we're overheating. No, Jebediah! Oh, this was too steep of a descent vector. Not good, not good, not good. I hope we have enough heat capacity to withstand this descent. Jebediah! Your sacrifice will not be in vain, preemptively. Please, hold on. Oh, that was the explosion of the orbital module. Oh, hang in there, buddy. What's our altitude? Oh, we are dropping in velocity. Good, good, good. This means we will be shedding heat. Oh. Oh, that's pretty scary. Oof. Okay, let's switch back our view. Yes, I think that was way too steep of a descent. I may want to put a secondary heat shield on this thing. Let's wait till our velocity is subsonic before we pop our chutes. Because this is the cheapest possible parachute available. And it looks like we'll have a nice, safe splashdown in the ocean. Alright, let's orient ourselves. Alaric, I think they have heat shield parts to put on the undersides of these capsules now that don't affect staging in vanilla. Yes, I think I noticed those, but I was unsure if yeah, they would affect anything. But if that's the case, I will definitely be trying them out. Okay, so our altitude is 7 kilometers and dropping like a stone. Velocity is still dropping. Thank you, atmospheric density, 5 kilometers. Let's pop our chutes at 3K. I think that will be acceptable. 3.5K. Oh, this is tense. This is tense. 200 meters per second. That's still awfully fast. Let's risk it a little more. Pop it. Please don't rip off. Please don't shear off. Should have noted the safe speed for the chute. Yeah, I didn't look that up. Oh, it's inflating at 500 meters. That's awful close. Oh, we did it. Let's turn off the SAS. Thank you, thank you. And Jebediah is none the worse for wear. Maybe a little sweaty, but... Alright. This should be a safe touchdown. Lying by the seat of my pants. That indeed. How you doing? How you doing, my little buddy? Oh, look at you! You're still alive! Okay. I'm sorry, Croaker. Well, this was at least, you know, going into the atmosphere of a habitable planet, just to wait till we attempt our moonshot, eventually. So let's speed up time a little bit. Warning, using physics warp can affect... Oh, yeah, let's not do physics warp. Time warp 4, and let's just make sure we splash down before we complete this scenario, because I think we need to be splashed down in order to recover. Okay, time warp to 0, and we have not drowned. Fantastic! We did it! First successful orbital flight of a Kerbal without a casualty. Jeb, 100%. Yes, he does indeed live to fly another day, Mundo. Hopefully it won't kill him. Okay. Let us return to the Space Center. I don't remember how to end a flight, but I think Space Center is good enough. Loading the world, loading the world. Okay, so we have our tracking station. Let's see what flights we have. So we have no flights other than our untitled spacecraft ship, which splashed down. And because it splashed down, we can recover it. And we want to recover it because Jebediah is now ready to fly again. Excellent. Let's go back to the Space Center. Oh, here we go. Kerbin's parameters. Ah, GM. GM gives me flashbacks to basic orbital mechanics. That is the number you use for darn near every calculation. Let's see here. Oh, there's the in-game wiki. It's the little book with the rocket. I should have looked that up. All right, how do we leave this mode? There we go. Leave facility. And let's take a look at our rocket design. So, wingmates, do you have any name suggestions for our not so ill-fated spacecraft? There we go. I'll be taking suggestions. Zoom in. Why aren't we zooming? There, we're zooming. Okay. So, we've successfully flown into orbit. That's Browner Mark 1. Apollo is a classic. It's okay. On the spot names are difficult. Wikipedia is an excellent place, or any sort of wiki. Just a random page until you get something that sounds fancy. That's Browner. Well, for the time being, this can be the PB Mark II, because we will be improving it. Ship description. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Emblazoned above the cockpit door. Also, it should probably have a poisonous tree frog paint scheme so that anyone with the wisdom will know not to board it. So, I think we should have an orbital fuel depot. Because that's fun. Space stations are fun. So in order to do that, we will likely need a very big ship. Actually, Alaric, you have made me think twice. Bold is the right word. Maybe I should have an orbital dummy so that I can practice my docking maneuvers beforehand. So before I do any of that, I think I need to add more RCS thrusters so that this particular craft will be capable of actually docking. So let's give it 4 more thrusters. I did not necessarily like how much, try just getting some heavy space junk into orbit first. I was considering basically keeping this base and launching a small probe with a fuel tank on it. And that way, if I dock to it, I could also refuel in orbit once that maneuver is complete. And that would be a simple, low investment way of getting my orbital rendezvous practice in. But I guess a space probe is some junk, but it's not quite heavy. But you know what? Let's do 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say, and do heavy docking target probe. So now that we've christened the PB Mark II, let's save the vessel. Let's see, save. And let's start a new vessel. So let's use the large fuel tanks for this particular vessel. The Kerbal S 14,400. Alaric, you mean the heavy is the real problem? Ideally, you want to be able to lift at least 1 full orange tank up at a time, and that's a lot of payload. Well, now that you put that challenge, let's get cocky and let's lift a full fuel tank as a docking probe. They changed the colors. I do remember an orange fuel tank, but I seem to be missing it here. At least I can't see it at the moment. It's not part of an engine, I believe. They did change colors. I think you deleted what was the new orange tank. Ah, thank you, thank you. So let's see the big boy. Let's look at the tonnage. So this is an 81-ton tank. This is a 45-ton tank, which is half size. All of these are fuselage chunks and adapters. Yes, so we will want the 80-tonner. Okay, so we have the first core block of our system. So I think we will stick with a classic multi-stage approach along with solid fuel or perhaps even liquid fuel boosters. No need to go into asparagus staging yet. I'm not quite ready for that kind of tragic operation. So, let's get a big engine onto this monster. Engines! Why not go right to the mammoth? Let's not mess around here. Let's take a look at the mammoth here. ISP is pretty good in atmosphere and comparable in orbit. Yes, so you don't need solar panels while initiating a liftoff, mostly because these engines tend to have a turbine within them that runs off of the propellant flowing through the tank, since it is pressurized, and that can provide electric power for your craft so that your gyroscopes and the like can remain functional. And this engine also does indeed have gimbaling, which is very handy for stability. So I think this won't be enough, especially considering we want a single heavy orange tank, at least, on our orbital probe. So let's throw on another tank for our first stage. I think that might be a little heavy, but let's just go with it. We'll be using solid fuel boosters to make up for the inefficiency. That's a pretty big Delta V right now, but it's gonna drop very quickly. So this is acceptable for the time being. Let's add a coupler of the large variety. Stack separators. These ones, so decouplers, they blow off whatever's on top of them, but stack separators go both ways. This could be useful for some things in the orbital realm. I don't usually end up using them, but they're nice because the whatever's on the bottom doesn't end up having a decoupler latched onto it. Can I change the colors on this? Ah, there we go. Classic orange tank color. It's the variant thing. So let's put a big old decoupler on this. Perfect. And now let's put a second stage engine. I don't know if we want to do a 3-stage approach to getting this into orbit, considering we are not trying to get a very high orbit. I think we'll try with 2 stages for now. And further flights could refuel this particular tank. But let's make sure we build this with provisions for a docking port that can transfer fuel, and for solar panels so that this particular probe does not run out of juice. Let's see. So for our second stage, we need something that will have enough thrust. So one of the unfortunate things is that the Nerve atomic rocket, which uses a reactor to heat up propellant and push it out, it unfortunately has a very low thrust. So in this case, in vacuum, it has 60 kilonewtons of thrust, whereas even one of these smaller engines, big-sized engines, will have something akin to, in vacuum, 65 kilonewtons, which is an order of magnitude more. So, for a second stage, because if we don't circularize our orbit quickly enough, we will be in deep trouble. We certainly will have to use something that is at least vaguely powerful enough to move at least a single orange fuel tank. So, let's see here. The Terrier is a teeny tiny engine, if I recall. Yes. The Skipper is... This is smaller, it's mid-sized, but we could use an adapter to couple these together. Although I'd rather not do that. Let's go with... It's a properly sized... The mainsail. I think we'll have to use a little bit of an adapter no matter what we do. I may have forgotten the, oh, here we go. Ooh, that's a little too big. So the Rhino has, in atmosphere, a thrust of 2,000 kilonewtons, whereas the Mammoth has 4,000, so we're good with the Mammoth there. Ooh, the twin-bore liquid engine. So this is both an integrated tank and a motor, which can save you some mass. And it kind of looks like the, oh goodness, so after Redstone, it was Atlas rocket, the Atlas, the first, and Atlas 1, yes, that's what it looks like. Although the Atlas 1, oddly enough, had a single primary engine and 2 detachable engines. It was a, as they say, a stage and a half rocket, with the pod on top and a single lower stage, and 2 detachable engines. Very, very odd design. I don't think it's been replicated since. You know, let's go with the Skipper. Oh, no. Okay, let's try the Rhino. I'm sure we'll regret it, but all good things must come to pass. So here is our actual payload orange tank with an engine. Oops, there we go. That's a little bit big, but as long as it circularizes, we're good. So this system, I don't think the probe itself needs to be very big. So let's put an adapter here to make the fuselage a little bit smaller. I don't want to waste any mass on large components when I would be perfectly satisfied with small ones. And we will tolerate a smaller RCS unit. Or, I'm sorry, flywheel unit. Reaction wheel unit. So, each size of reaction wheel is appropriate to a particular size of vessel. Because, while technically you can spin anything, even with the smallest reaction wheel, your speed, your rate of change for the reaction is far lower when you're using a smaller rotary mass. So in this case, well, we could use one of these absolute, oh, where is the big one? Do they not have a big one? I may have embarrassed myself here. Looks like we'll be using RCS no matter what, but they don't have any bigger reaction wheels than this. So we will use an adapter. There's a flat adapter. This should weigh a little less. Rocco Max brand adapter. Hello, Ice Runner. You're about to do something I haven't managed to do in my whole 3-month-long KSP career. Oh, what is that? Launch an orange tank? Or just launch in general? I have faith in you, Ice Runner. The tutorials in this game are great. I just didn't bother to catch up on them before launching into this transmission. Rendezvous! Oh, we may not succeed at Rendezvous. I may have to save the game and look at the tutorial. I will make no guarantees of a successful orbital rendezvous. Oh my, where are the adapters? I think I may have to use a fuselage component. Yes, I think there's some kind of funny crossover issue here. You know what? That inspired me. Let's call this craft the Rodney. I'm gonna peek at how that's spelled. Rendezvous. There we go. A description will have to come later. I believe there was an in-game tutorial for Rendezvous. I skimmed through the listings, but I think it was something like advanced orbital maneuvers, maybe. Don't quote me on it, and it may have been added later, but I may have to look things up. Okay, so now we have our adapter. So let's slap on a large reaction wheel. Perfect. batteries, we will also use small ones. So now that we have a reaction wheel, I think it would be nice to have a significant monopropellant tank for our reaction control systems, because we may be burning a lot of monopropellant. This does eat into our payload, but oh well. Okay, structural, command and control. Ah, it's the fuel tanks, that's right. Chip and Rat is boarding with 10 raiders. Hello, Chip and Rat. Oh, dogs aboard my vessel. Wingmates, get into your power armor. We must protect the vessel. Hello, Chip and Rat. It's going well. I am currently engaged in some Kerbal space program. It's lagging a little right now. We are attempting to take this section right here, this orange fuel tank, and put it into orbit so that it can be used as a docking target for an earlier spacecraft that we tested out just about perhaps 20 minutes ago. But yeah, this might not go right because my calculations for fuel and for thrust are very much back of the envelope. Oh, Chip and Rat, you put a station into orbit yourself. Were you playing a Kerbal Space Program? Or perhaps another game? Have I been to Duna? Ah, a fellow KSP Chad. Well, I'm glad you managed to do that. I'm a little rusty. It's been a while since I've engaged in this particular simulation, but I am doing my darndest here. Feel free to backseat a little bit, Chip, because there are some controls that are new to me in this particular update. And Ice Runner, I have not been to Duna. I've only been to the moon and infrequently. Everything else was failed attempts to enter orbit. Well, I'm glad you enjoy watching. Feel free to make comments wherever you please. Okay. We're gonna use we will be using a probe for this particular mission, because I am not sure if this will explode at the gantry or not. Nice. Yeah, stretch your legs. It's good to get out into the grav ring and actually walk on your own 2 feet. Zensei, hello. You can check your thrust to weight ratio by clicking the orange 3 slashes bar. You have enough delta V to make orbit for sure. Yeah, right now I do. I think I might have gotten a little overzealous, and I was planning on putting solid fuel boosters on anyways. Ah, there we go. That is really helpful. Okay, I'll pop them open. So ISP is 295. That's for that. Thrust is, Oh, okay, I see there's a bit of an inefficiency. Yeah, I definitely don't want to put this too high in orbit either way, because this will... The spacecraft that will target this as a docking target will be quite anemic in its performance. Okay, so what was I intending to do? I think I wanted to put a monopropellant storage tank, a fairly large one. Xenon container. Now, where are the large monopropellant? Oh, there we go, RCS fuel tank. There we go. That's a big boy. Do we need that much monopropellant? Oh, that's too small. Okay, I guess that is what we will be using for our monopropellant tankage. Ooh, I do love a little cluster tank design. So now we have our reaction wheels. We have our monopropellant for RCS. Let us put a control module onto this contraption. This would be, I believe, in pods. Remote guidance units. The Probodyne series is a classic. Ooh, these are very small, so this is definitely more of a payload thing. That's a very tiny Probodyne. That's a small guidance unit. Okay, this will do for us, I think. So this is our remote guidance unit. Excellent. Okay. So now we have a control system. We need to make sure the control system has enough battery to survive during its dark time in Kerbin's orbit. Sensei, thank you. Yes, I think I remembered that, but it's always good to hear it again. Because more often than I like to admit that has happened. So, before we forget that, let's slap on some solar panels. That would be an electrical. Let's see, these one. We could use the large arrays, but I don't think that will be necessary. Fuel cells. They convert fuel and oxidizer into energy. I don't think that's quite how they work. Ooh, we could put an RTG and just avoid the whole thing. Ah, JC! Glad you're getting some rest. Thank you for joining our convoy for as long as you could. And I wish you safe flight. Alright. I like the look of the 3x2 photovoltaics. Let's use an array of 4. Just in case we damage them, and we will need to, during docking, because that's something I fully expect to happen. Here we go. Now let's add a proper battery pack. The Z-1K rechargeable battery pack. 10 times the power capacity. I don't know if this is necessary. I really don't. No, let's do the Z100 and the Z400. This one has 100 charge, and this one has, predictably, 400. Let's just do a 8-way array of these cells around the perimeter. Around the RCS tank. I think that'll be good enough. So we have solar panels. We have batteries. Let's not forget lighting, because docking lights save the day. That will be under utility, perhaps? No. Oh, yes, it is under utility. So the dome light, that's a new one. Let's use the dome light for just general indicator lights. Oh my, that is absolutely tiny. That won't do. Okay, so the Illuminator Mark II is a wide beam, and the Illuminator Mark I is a tight beam. Let's use the Illuminator Mark I facing rearwards in a quadruple array in order to illuminate our tank here. And I think with the orange, that should look very nice. And once we finish off our docking module here, we will add some docking lights, I believe. Let's see, anything else that's useful here? We have some ladders that we could add. Ooh, and the flags, that's awesome. Hitchhiker container. Ah, that's an orbital habitat. We do have a lot of thrust in Delta V. Maybe we could even stick an orbital habitat onto this. Maybe not. Oh, this is a different spotlight. Also very small. Radial mount parachutes. So our modified ascent craft will have to have these radial parachutes because in all likelihood we will use the nose slot for a docking module, which is what we should do for this particular setup here. Ice Runner, is your game modded? I don't have those lights. To be honest, I don't know. I think it's vanilla. This is the latest update though. And the version is Steam. So I'm not quite sure. I don't know if anyone else has any input on this. But I'm actually quite lost about some of these newer lights myself. Ooh, navigation light. Also very tiny. I'm not sure I want that. Light strip. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Mobility enhancer. Convertotron. Oh, this is for planetary mining. I have not done that before. Science, cargo, communications. I don't think we need any. We will be well within range of Kerbal's communications arrays, so we will not need an extended dish for this. Radiators. why not add a set of radiators to this station? Let's add some small panels. There we go. That should really not be a problem. But while we're here, let's do it for practice sake. And while we are here, let's add some ailerons or some control planes to this rocket. Let's use a bigger winglet than the ones we previously were using. No, too small. Advanced canard. Still a little anemic, at least to my taste. Oof, a whole aeroplane tail fin. So it seems like there's quite a few Kerbal Space Program players out there. What is the farthest body in the system that you've landed on successfully? For me, it's unfortunately the moon, but I would be curious to know how far fellow wingmates here have gone. You know, the fins aren't that much of a priority. We have gimbaling, so let's use this particular winglet. Tolerance, 50 Gs. Elu, nice. And Minmus. Fantastic. Yeah, that's, maybe one day I'll get there, but for now, even rendezvousing in orbit, I think, would be a nice accomplishment. Okay, enough ogling. Let's just go with this basic winglet. No shame in that. That's anemic, but it's okay. Unfortunately, we don't have those fancy grid fins that Elon has access to. Wow. Zensei, my hat is tipped to you. A Apache Pachi. Well, let's try to plant a flag on the moon eventually here, and then we'll get to Duna. Ah, okay, Clampatron. So these are the docking ports. We could use an inline port, but I think it'll be more than okay if we use... Maybe even with this rocket. Maybe not. I would have put some nuclear engines on it if that was my intention. I'm not well versed in interplanetary craft design. At least in this particular simulation. So I would like to have at least several docking ports available, because this station may be flying for a while, and using the Soviet approach of a 6-way coupler, I may be able to expand on it in the future, and waste not, want not. So let's extend this a little bit so that we don't destroy it, and then we can add one of these lovely 8-way couplers. There we go. Core module. Don't know how I feel about this, but good enough. And now let's add the proper couplers. We need our docking ports. Clampatrons. Oh no. Shielded docking ports. Let's use shielded. Why not? We have the money for it. This is sandbox. Okay. Let's turn off symmetry. Ah, this has been a while. Let's see. How do I put it on sideways? Oh, this should be a basic thing. Let's see here. Keyboard controls. Yes, I just figured that out. Thank you, Zensei. Okay, 1. Actually, undo that, and let's just do 4-way symmetry. Unfortunately, it won't auto-place 4 ways for us. That's fine. Holding Alt while you place a part will lock it in that orientation. Ah, okay. Excellent. I will have to look up the keybinds once I'm done with this. Or relearn them. In fact, go through all of the tutorial. But flying blind is fun on its own. Okay, so we have all of our docking ports set up. Now, if I recall, I believe fuel can flow through all of these parts. It would be disappointing in launching a craft and docking it and not being able to refuel it. That would be a serious issue. Before I forget, RCS thruster blocks. There we go. Let's put some on. Doorway symmetry. Let's put some here at the end over here, and some at the base. Do you think it would be a good idea to add an advanced grabbing unit to dock with vessels that don't have ports? Ah, see, I haven't used an advanced grabbing unit before, but I think that would be an interesting idea. Let's look for it. Grab. Oh yes, no, I have used this. It's just the name didn't ring a bell. I guess I could add that to the nose module, or maybe I could slap it on the side. I could slap a pair in bilateral symmetry. So the Junior is rather small, and the advanced grabbing unit itself is surprisingly chunky. What's the tonnage on that? Not too much. We have plenty of thrust. Yes, let's do that. I like that. Let's add a bilaterally symmetrical set of grabbing units. Let's mount them smack in the middle of the tank. Why not? That's not going to be a disaster when the nose of another craft punches through. But this way we'll be able to keep our core module here. So let's see, what other payload parts should we add? A fairing, maybe. Let's see if we can add a fairing. Oh, okay. Let's see. So the fairing will go around like this, and it needs to be part of it. Okay. All right, let's take this off and slap a fairing on. Oh. Oh, that's adding a lot of tonnage. Never mind, I think we'll be okay. I'll have to play around with that on my own. So, we have a robotic control module. If this will let me touch it. Now that's the reaction wheel. Here's our remote guidance unit. Here's our RCS fuel tank with significant capacity. We have RCS. We have our flywheel. We have radiators, we have solar panels, and we have all of the docking components we need. So I think this is good enough. Oh yes, one last thing. I wanted to add some lights facing forward. So let's go to Utility and add some illuminators facing forward. Perfect. Four-way symmetry. Excellent. There we go. What color should they be? I think white's fine. Okay. So, Rodney Rendezvous, I think, is ready for takeoff, other than no gantry and no boosters. You know what? I don't mind having more boosters, so let's waste money. Let's get some couplers. Radial coupler. And let's add 4 boosters. Coupler set here, and a coupler set in line here. Boosters. The good old thumper. I think this is a little unnecessary, but I love solid fuel boosters. Oh dear. did not attach that correctly. Come on, there you are, there you are. Alright, let's move this a little lower. Thank you for behaving. Acceptable, acceptable. Let's add some kickaway motors, some separatrons. Because last time we nearly had the rocket explode on us. I think sideways will be acceptable. One set of separatrons. And if we only do that, it will go spinning wildly, so let's add a second set of separatrons. Not quite as balanced as I'd like it to be, and definitely not along the center of mass, so let's put it along the center of mass so that the ejection is a little more stable. Oh, they're facing the wrong way, unfortunate. Behave, you scoundrel! These are the nitty-gritty touches that make or break your spacecraft. Acceptable. Slap a coat of paint on it, it's ready for launch. Let's add some nose caps. Where are the nose caps? Aerodynamics. Aerodynamic nose cone. And now we need gantry. Good. That will hopefully not impact the craft. So, looking at our vessel, it is a two-stage design with a whole host of robotic components here. Let's save it. So let's adjust our stages. So this burn is who? The Rhino. No, we want Rhino to be in the second stage. Separation of the solid fuel boosters should be its own stage. Oh, it appears these aren't doing much. That's okay. Let's move them here. There we go. So, separation of the solid fuel boosters its own stage, as it should be. And with that should also simultaneously be the Separatron firings. Excellent. Okay, so the gantry is its own stage, and beneath it we will add the start of the Mammoth. So Mammoth start is here, and here we will also have the start of the solid fuel boosters. Now this horizontal separation is second stage, so let's add another sequence here. There we go. So we have our separation, followed by ignition of this engine. Okay, I think this is acceptable. So, firing of main engine along with the solid fuel boosters, and then release of gantry, followed by separation of the boosters with the firing of the Separatrons, followed by separation of stage 2, followed by stage 2 engine ignition. I'm thinking this is looking good. So, our delta V right now is a miserly 2,000 meters per second. We have lost a significant... Do you think adding fins would help stabilize the rocket during your ascent? I do have some fins right here. They're a little small. I think I could add bigger ones, that's for sure. The gimbals should do most of the work, I'm hoping. But that may be the case that it's not enough. But we'll see, we'll see. I did not see bigger fins, so in my panic, I just picked the stock ones. So I don't like this delta V number. Let's take a look at our... Let's use this little triple menu. Thrust, nice. Thrust on that stage is pretty intense. Camouflage, yes. Can we change the color? No, this winglet does not have a different camo scheme. Oh, forgive me for this, but I am going to just stack. No. That gives me even less delta V. That's fine, that's fine. Alright, let's give this a try. This is about as good as we'll get. Save the rocket. And prepare for launch. Here we go. The first space station launch by the Kerbals. Thank you, Zensei. Yes, this would have been a short suborbital flight. Let's see, let's revert flight to the vehicle assembly. So clearly our payload is quite intense here. So we need to add more thrust. Solid fuel boosters are clearly not enough. So, let us simply... I have used asparagus staging before, but I'm a little bit rusty, so it is not quite intuitive to me at this very instant. But I think I will try something akin to that. Or maybe I will just slap stages, some more fuel tanks onto the first stage. I'm not going to quite take the Saturn III approach, or was it the Saturn 1 where they used old redstone rocket parts to create a single, I guess, amyl-gated fuel tank. It was one of the Saturn rockets. I just can't remember the rocket. It was not the 5, that's for sure. And if anything, the numbering of the Saturn rockets is more in relation to their role rather than their, I guess, place in the project. Oh, it's difficult to describe. Yeah, let's just add more fuel tanks. I'm willing to play rough here. More fuel tanks, more mammoth engines, and more struts. There's always room for more struts. Yeah, I do not think I have the wherewithal at the moment to figure out the asparagus staging, but I definitely enjoy seeing it happen. You can never have too many struts, that's very true, Zensei. Also, you need to make sure you have fuel ducts. Let's make sure we have fuel ducts to the main tank. My guess is that if I have them mated, they will transfer fuel, but I'm not going to bank on that. Ah, Zensei. Yeah, thank you for the offer. Miwa, you're going to bed. Oh, yes, if that's happening, get some rest. Thank you for joining the convoy. I hope you have safe travels. And pleasant dreams. I'm glad to hear that, Miwa. Come back anytime. Okay. Oh, thank you, Zensei. As long as they are attached to each other, they will transfer fuel. Not if they are separated by decouplers, though. Thank you. Yes, some of these rules are not quite intuitive, and I did not review the tutorials. Hi, Simi. We are going to space a second time. Although, as Zensei pointed out, we had not enough delta V to even enter orbit. And we're still a little low? Let's see what our second stage delta V is. We don't quite have that. Is there a breakdown? Burn 5 seconds. What do you mean by that? Orbits are a little overrated. Ballistic trajectories are where it's at, but I'm trying to play nice today. I'm trying to not bring the Kerbal civilization to ruin. Aerodynamics. Where's my stilted nose cone of large proportions? I demand my stilted nose cone. There it is. Oh, that's too small. Far too small. Couplers, payload, couplers. Oh, cargo ramps, that's new. Oh, Sibby used to play too. Yeah, I think that you've summarized how I feel. I used to be much better at this, but here I am. But you know what? Relearning things is a pleasure. And when you do remember something from the crevices of your mind, deep within the wrinkles that, you know, crisscross your brain, oh, it's a good feeling. Tisk tisk, where is this part? I remember seeing it. Too small. Too small. And that's also a fuselage component. A little bit of drag never hurt anyone. Zensei, what games do you play nowadays, Spacer? Ooh. Well, so recently I've been streaming Homeworld, Deserts of Karak. I've been streaming Free Space 1. Thanks to the kind suggestions of my wingmates, I played some Brigador. That was, I believe, yesterday. I also played some Megamech because I do enjoy the Battletech tabletop game along with the MechWarrior simulator games. I probably have quite a few more games I could say I played. So the Homeworld series is definitely one. Warhammer, I would straight up have to pull up a list right now because I am trying to think of where that particular nose cone is. So my brain is a little bit dysfunctional. So I hope you apologize that I've only given you my recent records. Allow me to cycle my memory here. Frustration. Nose. Nose cones. Please just give, yes, there we go. That's a proper rocket now. So combat RTS focused. I need to focus on both, so don't worry, Zensei. Well, combat RTSs, I suppose, they're not my bread and butter, but I really enjoy them. That's a lot of what got me into playing games. But I also do enjoy the various the simulator genre. I've had limited experience with grand strategy, unfortunately. Oh, I reduced my Delta V. Oh, this is unfortunate. Let's try a different setup here. Let's use the Rhino. Oh, right, thrust is different from Delta V. How about we rip that off and throw on... I don't have 10 hours to figure this out and recall the meta of getting a good Delta V, especially since I don't have my calculator handy with me at the moment. My simulated TI-84 Silver Edition. The absolute best calculator ever. Everything else after it is irrelevant. Reduce the mass of the payload, add more liquid fuel, or use asparagus staging. Yeah, there's gonna be no good way. I think I'll use the 4 Rhinos, though, rather than having the Mammoth on board. Since we are using all of these fuel tanks. Yeah, it's either reduce the payload or increase the fuel mass. Proportion of reaction mass is what gives you more Delta V. I unfortunately remember that cruel rule. Although, for whatever reason, it's not, you know, clicking the way I wanted to. You know what? Let's go for broke. Let's launch this. The crowd wants a show, and by God, we'll give them one. And I do hope God is on our side here. Believe! Believe! Oh! I forgot my bracing reps, and I forgot my gantry reps. For my sins, ignite the first stage. Oh, what happened there? What happened? This is an unmitigated disaster. Oh, there we go. Take off! Fuel tank meets fuel tank. It's speed dating. Okay, I'm glad Jeb was not on board that. All right, back to the drawing board. The old drawing board. Vehicle assembly. Yes, that is one way to do it. Okay, struts. Struts, struts, struts. The duct tape of spaceflight. Engage symmetry mode. Not simi mode, but we should engage that too. Struts. Struts? I believe in struts, and struts believe in me. That is the chant of the spacer. We, who fly by the seat of our pants, we believe in the power of the metal beam connected from tank to tank. We worship the metal beam connected from tank to tank. Alright, let's add some more struts so this looks rather nice. 1 and 2. They're a little off kilter, but so is my life. Let's add another stage for our gantry. There we go. What is this separator? Oh, and since I threw out the engines last time, I completely caused a major malfunction here. So this rhino goes here, and this stage 2 separator should be where it should be. There we go. So 4 rhinos on the bottom, or 5 rhinos. The gantry, separation, and stage 2 engine ignition. Oh, this Delta V just changed. That's fine by me. Let's try this. Save. And launch. Loading, loading, loading. Keep 'em doggies loading. Fantastic! And we've gained a whole 10 meters of launch height. That's what we call a pro strat. Alright. Throttling up to full. 10, 9, 3, 1. Houston, we've got a big problem. I think we need more thrust. Oh, there we go. We do need more thrust. Oh, this is, we're gonna need the mammoth engines. Oh no, we've got the jiggles. His worst quality, his wiggles. Let's just separate. Oh, I got a little cocky, I think. More boosters, exactly. Rhinos, you have failed me. We're going with the mammoth. More thrust, but we need more thrust, clearly. Perfect. And the mammoths need to be put into stage 1 again. Better, better. We've doubled our thrust effectively, if I recall. More boosters, more boosters. We're gonna do something I call more boosters. That's the entire strat. I think in this game, the more parts you have, the less things work. Yes, Simi, that's exactly what I'm experiencing. All right, let's go a little ape. 1, 2, and 3. More solid fuel boosters, please. Just a little extra spice for that liftoff. I'm not even gonna bother putting aerodynamic end caps on this. Nor with Separatrons, I don't care. So we need to make sure we add a solid booster separation stage. And we need to make sure we add solid booster ignition, which it thankfully is already in stage 1. Let's return our gantries to their rightful place. Safe? I think not. And let's add a gantry stage. Okay, these are the booster separators, the vertical separator. Okay, I think that is acceptable. Wait a minute. Solids, gantry. I thought there would be another. Oh, no. These, yeah, these should be here. Okay, perfect. Far from perfect, but let's do it. Save and launch. I think precarious is the word I'm looking for here. I should have added more struts. Well, no time like the present to hit the takeoff. Ignition! And we're actually moving. Stability control systems online. Solid fuel is down to 75. Oh, that is jiggling uncomfortably. Good thing all the engines can gimbal. Yes, the solid fuel boosters are quite powerful. They will get anything. Ah, Mach lines! We've done it! I should have put a fairing on this. Okay. We are gonna throttle down. Detaching boosters and none of them hit me. Fantastic. We're getting our bank. Alright, let's take. Oh! No. Why did I stage separate? No! Spacebar is the wrong button. M is the button I want. Alright. Let's ride the Tiger. Full thrust. Ignition. Separation. Woo! Alright, let's go into orbit on this. Stability systems online. Throttling down. Let's arrange ourselves properly. I don't think we have this. You can reduce the wobble by using Auto Strut. You can enable it in the settings page from the main menu. Oh, that would be great. I think for now we must live with our sins. And how much Delta V do I have? Let's see. Thrust burn, I have 130 seconds. You know what? This is a scrubbed launch. Revert the flight. Yes, Sensei. I think that I will enable that as soon as I have enough. Revert the flight. Yeah, my speech is taking damage here from my absolute shame at this cluster. Foobar. Throttling up engines to full power. Stability systems engaged. Wish us luck, everyone. Whoa. Okay. Just a bit of jiggle. Perfect. I feel like hitting the sound barrier very early on is not a good use of propellant, so let's throttle down a little bit to 75%. Although we are crossing the threshold. Yeah, that correction might have been a little bit too aggressive. I mean, all burn? Yeah, we're not getting Mach streaks anymore, but we're also leaving Atmo. So yeah, it's that critical early part of the flight. We are only at about Mach 2. Our apoapsis. It's gonna be okay if we hit 1,000, because our other craft can only about handle that much. It's gonna be a very low orbit. Maybe that. Cut off. Alright. So let's plot our next burn. We actually have a surprising amount of liquid fuel left over. Alright. Adding orbital maneuver. A full prograde burn. Let's stabilize here. I think that's decent enough for me. Close enough for government work. This is going to be a low orbit station, I believe. My other craft is not capable of reaching good elevations. It's got very poor performance. Okay, let's turn on RCS and adjust to prograde. Actually, let's turn off RCS. It's freaking out. Actually, prograde is exactly where we are at now. Oh. We have so much mass that I think we may be in trouble. We only have 1 minute to reach our burn angle. I'm just gonna, yeah, I had it switched to... Alright, I need to turn off stability assist. And now we're gonna stop it, stability assist, or RCS. And I overshot it. Great. We will be doing an in situ burn using our gimbals to rotate our vessel to the correct orientation. That's what I'm thinking. I totally overshot this. Node in. We should be beginning burn at -15 to the node, so that we can equalize. Come on, darling. Yeah, it's okay. We have more than enough reaction mass. Let's see, you can enter time warp by pressing... Ah, yes, yes. Then hop out of it by pressing to freeze your vessel. Do I want to be a little bit cheeky like that? Either way, let's start the burn. Let's use our gimbals. Oh, that's much better. Okay, let's adjust. Okay, we are almost on vector. We are slightly above prograde. This is acceptable to me. Throttling up. Gimbals are an amazing... Oh, that's a lot of jiggle. That's a lot of wiggle. Thank you, Sensei. I'm glad the physics haven't detonated this thing quite yet, but I think it may shake itself into oblivion. Oh boy, we are losing stability. Let's cut the engine. Let's take a look at what we've done. What evil have we wrought? Oh, RCS is freaking out. SpaceRX mission is going well. We certainly don't have that level of funding, but I think it'll be okay. So we've clearly messed up our setup here, but that's okay. So let's attempt to correct the situation by dumping this nearly expended stage. It's quite a burden on us. So let's hit spacebar. And let's use RCS thrusters to push forward a little. RCS online, stability assist online. Let's see, that's not the forward. What is it? K? H? H, there we go. L is sideways, Y is nothing. Is it N? N is backwards, okay. Still counts. Alright, we've gently distanced ourselves from stage 1. Let us orient ourselves using no RCS. Oh. Okay. Okay, this is a lot more controllable. Ooh, I definitely forgot to turn on my lighting. There we go. A little more illumination. And let's deploy our solar panels while we haven't forgotten that. I should have made an action group for them. So we'll do it manually for the time being. But we definitely don't want to run out of power. Where's our control module here? That's our propellant tank. Yes, we have plenty of electric charge for the time being. And we are getting sunlight, which is excellent. Alright, let's plot our next maneuver. So this apoapsis is a little high. So let's add a maneuver while we are at apoapsis to make this periapsis just a little bit higher and circularize the orbit just somewhat. Yeah, I think 130 kilometers is an acceptable distance. Let's take a look here. Oh, to any viewers, is there a way to slowly increment the vectors here? I keep using the mouse, and I forget if there's like a shift drag or something to make this increment with much more precision. Let's see, is it shift? Let's try shift. Oh, that appears to be something like that. Maneuver node editor. Bottom left. Oh, this little bit here. Oh, excellent. Graphical editor 2. They really improved this. Thank you, Sensei. Oh yes, the various modes. Okay, so I think our periapsis is, let's drag this down a little bit. Can I use arrow keys? No, I can't. Let's try 39 meters per second of delta V. Oh, that's oh, that's way too much. 39 is close. Yeah, 39 will be good. Thank you, Simi. I'm not, I don't know how well I'm doing. I'm just trying to get the station into a stable orbit so that we can end this on a positive note. It is getting a little late. Let's see, so what were these other options for the node? It was like add secondary maneuver or something like that. Okay, and once we complete the lifting of our periapsis, we will then lower our apoapsis. And I think we can call it once that is successful. So let's begin the time warp. Oh, add or subtract. Interesting. Niwa. I think I will be playing Kerbal or other similar low-key games that allow for a modicum of creativity with some kind of frequency. I definitely feel like there's, there's many people who already play this, and I definitely, want to contribute, but I think I need to learn a little bit more before I make this a regular part of my repertoire. But definitely when I am flustered or stressed, this is a fun game to just unwind a bit. We are approaching our node here. Yes, exactly. You learn more by playing more, although I do think I need to read the manual a little bit, especially with all of these fancy new controls. The maneuver table is excellent. Okay, so node time. Let's orient ourselves in the proper direction, in the proper facing. Let's see. Oh, That is such a handy feature. I keep forgetting this button. That SAS can rotate you to maneuver, to the maneuver orientation. Burn time 2 seconds. This makes absolutely no sense to me. Oh, you know what it is? I haven't activated my engine. So throttle down. Let's do a little test blip. Shift and cut. Still 2 seconds of burn. Yeah, it is a very small delta V. And I have quite a bit. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think I will throttle up to quarter power and burn for 8 seconds, which I should be doing now. Quarter engine. Let's cut. Periapsis is not quite right. Let's add just a bit more X. You know, that's within error margin. That is acceptable. All right, next maneuver node at periapsis. Ooh, oh, that's cut off. Add maneuver. Oh, that's right. I am oriented around my vessel, not around this maneuver node. Oh, what happened here? Oops. Let's delete this maneuver node. Oh, it appears I have not completed my burn. There we go. Thank you. Okay, double click will focus. Add maneuver. Oh, what is this doing? This is not the maneuver I want at all. Oh, my old node is still there. Cannot delete maneuver node. Control locked. Ah. Oh no, Zensei, I'm really grateful for these tips. As my brain power falters, it's definitely helpful to have you know, someone helping me out here. Okay, you know what? This orbit is acceptable for now. I totally mangled it. So let's add a maneuver. And let's drop our apoapsis to circularize. So let's do retrograde burn of, ooh, let's say -10 meters per second. Let's see how we like them apples. Ooh, that's pretty... No, it's not at all what I want. So apoapsis is going to be still a little too high. Let's try -20. Oh, looks like we're gonna... You know what? Let's use this. Let's use this slider to get the rough estimate. Let's go back. Okay, there. That's how I go back. Retrograde burn. Retrograde burn. Apoapsis is dropping. Good, 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 good. Ooh, that should roughly be... Where's my eccentricity here in advanced mode? We're getting close to 0. It'll never be perfect. Not with my skills. Oh. That was a little too much. You know, that's within 8 kilometers. I am more than willing to accept that. Circular enough. Alright, let us adjust ourselves to maneuver. Oh, this will be excellent. And let us warp. Actually, let's not warp directly to the maneuver. Let's be cautious about this. Oh, viewers, do you know what this green line here is? Is this a line of sight for communications array? I don't think I've dealt with this particular mechanic before. Seems like that would be something akin to it. Ah, it looks like it. Yeah, there's probably multiple relay stations. Okay, moving on. Burn time is still 2 seconds. Let's stay in orbital mode for this particular situation. Okay. Node in 1 minute. Burn time 2 seconds. So let's do a 8th throttle 16-second burn. Just to be a little more cautious. So we should start at -8 seconds or so. So let's move a little faster. We're down to 1x physics simulation. All right, finger on the X to shut off our engines. So at 8 seconds, we will begin throttling to 8th power. And throttle up. Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it. Apoapsis is dropping. Fantastic. And that's even better than predicted. Perfect. All right, this maneuver node is good. We're done there. Okay, let's exit this maneuver. Looking at our craft. Okay, well, what did I call this? The, oh, I don't remember the name. Let's see here. Messages, resources. Oh, Delta V tools. Oh, I did not display it. Show me everything. Thank you. There we go. That is a lot better. All right. So we've brought the first module of our orbital fuel depot into a 200-kilometer orbit. I need to double check if that is an acceptable height above the atmosphere for this particular planet, but I will have to do that later. How's our battery power looking? Battery, battery, battery. We have more than enough electric charge. Excellent. What a beautiful starscape. The galactic core is definitely a wondrous thing to witness. It's a shame that on any developed colony, this will be taken away by light pollution or by a rather dense atmosphere. Not all worlds are blessed with as clear of a sky as historical Earth. Then again, on a vacuum world, you can see everything. Okay. So, I think with this successful launch, we can begin to wrap this up and continue another time. So let's go to the menu. Let's save our game. Let's call it... Oh, I am a sucker for ISO timestamps. 2021, month is March, and the day, at least in my time zone, where the JumpNet node is 07. There we go. Alright, and let's exit to the main menu. Let's look at the tracking station real quick. Oh yeah, I did miss the dashes a little bit. Ah, Rodney Rendezvous was the station's name. Alright, let's get out of this menu. And quit to main menu. Alright. Well, thank you everyone for watching me spend some time with the Kerbals and getting them into orbit as best I could. It's a little late, so I'll keep this short. Let's take a look if anyone did some lovely follows and the like. All right, Miwa rated earlier. Thank you, Miwa, for that. I know she's gone to bed. Ice Runner, thank you for joining the flotilla. Chip and Rat, thank you for the raid. That was much appreciated. Any boarding parties are fun boarding parties. And Zensei, thank you for following. Oh, okay. I do not know if I will be streaming tomorrow, and if I am, it may be also in a very late time slot, unfortunately. I am still on a search and rescue mission for my Courier Assistance Network, which I'm a part of, and part of the contract for someone coming to rescue you if ever you have a problem is that when you're selected randomly, you have to go help. I'm done after tomorrow, but and unfortunately, one of our fellow couriers has been declared missing, and so we're doing a last desperate search. The Javelin was a fine ship, and I did actually train with Roadblock, but that's sometimes the Void does claim its victims. I really do hope that's not going to be the case. Here's hoping for the safe return of the Javelin to civilized space. Thank you, Alaric. Thank you, Chip and Rat. And thank you, Zensei. And thank you to everyone else who, hasn't punched in a message recently. My scroll back only goes so far. Alright, let's go to our credits screen. Here we credit our background music composer. Thank you to Kevin MacLeod. Alright, and my friendly reminder lets me know that I should raid. Let me see who's in my IFF logs, if anyone is currently active, although the hours are quite late. Let's see here. Nope, nothing in my scope. Is there anyone on YouTube? Nothing in my scope either. Well, that's a-okay. Nothing quite like leaving without some we don't necessarily need to assault anything. Alright. Croaker, thank you. Niwa, yes. Alright, everybody. Safe travels. Keep your propellant tanks topped up. Keep an eye on that Delta V gauge, and a good night, a good evening, a good day, or whatever your time zone is. Goodbye, everyone.